Hi everyone, I'm Mayank Kejriwal. I'm a professor here at the University of Southern California. And today I'd like to introduce something that we've built as part of our company GRAIL, and that is our Agentic LaTex editor. So this is an editor that we conceived earlier this year when we found that we were wasting a lot of time going back and forth between, let's say, ChatGPT, Google Paper NanoBanana, Overleaf, etc. And we asked ourselves, what if ChatGPT and Overleaf had a baby together? So that's what turned into this product. And I want to show you this. It's already being used by researchers at over 80 institutions. So to get started, you just click on Start Writing, or you log in through the page I just showed you. Now, if you're not already logged in, it will ask you to log in through Google or email, very straightforward. So let's get started. You have to go to Projects, then go to New Project. And you can see here that you have three different options. You can either start with a blank LaTex, which we just initialized with the NeurIPS template. You can start with some templates that we've preloaded. These are mostly computer science or information systems, or you can start with an existing zip project. So you can get these easily from Overleaf. All you have to do is, let's say we go to one of my papers on Overleaf, and you can just kind of download the source as zip, and then you can just drag and drop your zip. So it's really that easy. So here I have already done that for a paper that has been published already. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with this paper. So I'm going to drag this source.zip here. I'll give it a name and then create the project. So it takes a few seconds to create the project. We are in the project workspace, and it probably looks familiar to many of you, especially if you've used Overleaf. You can sort of see here that we have the files and the file outline. In the middle, however, we have the PDF. So unlike Overleaf, where you have the editor in the middle and then you have the PDF, so you can always work in this setting as well if you want. But the way that you see it in default, especially in the early stages of a proposal or paper that you're trying to develop, is that you will see the PDF in the middle and you will see the agent on the right. Now, this agent is cloud-based. It runs on enterprise infrastructure, so your data is never used for training or anything like that. We're very careful about that. And so let's begin by asking the agent to do something. So maybe over here, right, I will ask it to say that, can you add a sentence? So what this agent will now do is that it will actually it will identify the right file. So you can see it's doing greps and other things. And I didn't tell it actually to look at main.tech, but it's able to recognize the right file. So it's a very agentic kind of tool. It will actually change the LaTeX directly and compile after it changes. So we can see that it added some examples over here. These are all examples of open world learning. Now, you can also view the changes here where you can see what it changed. In this case, remove this sentence and it added this paragraph over here. There are multiple changes. It will show you all the changes here. If you don't like the changes, if you want to reverse, we can always just click on this button and it will undo all the way. That is a very nice way of having control over the platform and not just fearing that the AI might do something rogue. As I already pointed out, you can have the editor, PDF, and agent all on one screen. This is especially useful if you have very big screens. You can also collapse these screens. This gives you more space. You can share with others. You can give them admin, editor, or viewer roles. Now let me show you some advanced features. Like any AI tools, you should always use them with caution, but we have found them to be especially useful for grants in particular. We will use the related work tool. You can click on the tool, or you can just ask it directly that write 3 paragraphs of related work in the main.txt. You can use the @ symbol to refer to files so that you are priming the agent. This is especially useful if you have lots of files or if you only wanted to work on one particular file. We get it to go to Semantic Scholar, other databases, to really avoid hallucinations. It's not 100% guaranteed that there will be no hallucinations at all. So we always recommend checking the bib through GPT-0 or through our own hallucination detector tool, which will be coming out around mid-August of 2026. This is actually generating related work. Let me point you to one or two other features. So one of them is that you can go to settings where you can change some of the compile settings. For example, if you click on draft mode, if you have lots of high resolution figures, this will lead to faster compilation. You can also add commands. So I have a command here called /press-like, where I say write for a general audience. This is a very short command, but you can have a much longer description. So these are like the macros. You've probably seen them in Claude Code. We can add another command where we say, don't change anything in the paper itself. Just tell me what I should change. So the reason why this is useful is because when you are in the later stages, you are kind of just getting ready for submission. You don't want the agent to mess up your work, and you will likely want to restrict changes. And so you can use a command like this. You can add all kinds of other commands here to personalize your agent. So it has finished the related work. It found 22 citations. We can click on view findings. And these are the 3 paragraphs. We find this very useful for grants, but also for understanding whether we have missed something in the paper. You can see that it's found things like learning to learn, transfer learning. I also added all these entries to BibTech automatically, so it's doing a lot of the work for you over here. You can have multiple conversations. For example, I can go back to the history and go to my other conversation, but I can also add a new agent, and then I can start on a new task. In this case, I'll show you another advanced feature, which is, can you help me generate an image? Now, because this agent is independent of the other agent, they will not carry over memory from each other. So you should use them for distinct tasks. Now, you can see here that it's generating an image. It will actually call Google Paper NanoBanana on the back end. This is the image that is given. It's actually not bad, but I want to revise this. So I could say there are 2 player 1 heroes here. Now it will try to refine the image. You can see that it kind of followed my instructions. It's using sober colors. It's not using purples and fancy things. We've chosen our models carefully so that they are suitable for academic work. So this is another thing that you can look at for your work if you're looking to generate good images. Again, we have actually used it quite extensively for proposals in particular. I can add this to the project. The image will get added to the left-hand side. So you can see it showed up here. Now, one of the other things that I want to point you to is that if there is ever an error in the LaTeX, so these are just warnings, but if there's ever an error and the project fails to compile, then you can always ask the agent, and the agent will usually correct the error on its own. Last but not least, we have this advanced feature, which is called Attach Apex Claw Workspace. I won't say too much about this right now, but Apex Claw is our scientific experimentation platform. It runs OpenClaw on Microsoft Azure servers. You can link this workspace so that it can take your markdown files and you can get the agent to write method section to create tables, figures. And our users have found that by using this platform, we are actually able to really go very quickly to final grants, clean up papers, and do revisions much more quickly. And we hope that you will use it for your purpose. Reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns on any of this. Thank you for listening.